Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Earhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. Alright, Sarah, I want to make sure that I have your... Alright, everyone. So today on the Infinite Abilities Podcast, we have Sarah Dixon. So, Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm an artist and I'm also a coach, and I live in Stroud, Gloucestershire, which is in the UK, in the Cotswolds, which is well known for its beautiful landscapes and stone cottages. So we get a lot of tourism and visitors. I know quite a number from the United States and also all around the world. So it's a kind of well-known place for its beauty, and I live in a small town, so we've got that side of it as well.
Mm-hmm. That's really awesome. Really awesome. Now, what do you do? How do you help people?
Well, I'm neurodivergent myself, and I particularly understand that kind of life experience as someone who's late diagnosed as well in this kind of upsurge of awareness that's risen in the last few years. I've been part of that wave really and discovering things. So I help people navigate that kind of experience and just understanding the world from a perspective where a lot of things about the world maybe don't make sense to us always, and how do we grapple with that? It can be to do with systems, institutions, work, and it can also be more personal things. So as an artist, I also understand that creative journey and the struggle of that. And often they very overlap because a lot of neurodivergent people are also really creative and become artists or go into that kind of work. So there's a big connection there. And it's just about helping people understand and make things work to their unique profile, because everybody is so different.
Yep, I love that. We are all different and we are all unique and we all need different things as we go along in life.
Yes.
So I'm with you. And then what kind of artwork do you do?
I do quite a mix. I sort of stumbled into becoming a performance artist, and I also do painting. So I've made a series of paintings called the 100 Goddesses, and that's my exploration into feminism and connection with spirit and with land and nature. I was a biologist. Originally, I started out studying biology, working in forests. And so I have a really strong sense of that living world. And so for me, the goddesses are about how do we communicate our diversity, our life experience in ways that I haven't always seen in the world around me. So I'm trying to explore new types of imagery and a sense of bursting creative life through these goddess images. And the performance art is often a bit more socially challenging or activist. It's about validation, it's about permission, it's about testing boundaries. And I work with another artist, Sharon Bennett, as well. So I sometimes collaborate, I sometimes do my own work. I also make films in the landscape. It's just this nature-life connection and questioning institutions and human systems.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And would you consider yourself like a coach, or how are you working with people?
Work in groups, and I teach and run workshops as well as one-to-one mentoring and coaching. So it's quite a range.
Okay. Awesome.
But I always bring, even if I'm teaching, I'm bringing a style of person-centeredness, listening, and that what I just said earlier about, understanding the uniqueness of a person. And that's also to do with art. So I might be helping someone with their creative practice. What makes them unique? What is it they need to express? And how do we help them develop their style, their communication in their practice? And then, so it could be groups. I work with children as well. Same thing, making a safe space for people to find self-expression.
That's incredible. I love that. And at what age did you find out that you were neurodivergent?
I'm just getting a reconnect message. So I found out I was neurodivergent maybe when I was about 45, I think. I'm now 51 and I've just had an ADHD diagnosis. So that makes it like official, I've got a validation process.
Yep.
I figured it out in about, I think it was around 2017, 2018 when I started watching. It was a TED talk that I watched that sort of landed in a way that really resonated, and it took me like a few weeks of reading after that to realize, oh, it's because this is me. So yeah, that moment.
Awesome. And when you found it out, did it make like a lot of things that you experienced throughout your life make a lot more sense?
I think that's so common, isn't it? So many people have had that experience of oh, that's why this. And it's like a
Hey,
massive
yep.
reframe. It's like a very liberating experience because suddenly I realized that I'm not a bad person. I'm just a person who works in a different way. And different to what? Like, I do question that slightly, like, what is this normal that we're supposed to match up to? But and I'd always
I know,
questioned
right?
that, and I'd always struggled with this idea of what normal is and why I'm supposed to be getting this strong message that I'm supposed to be doing something differently from what I'm doing. Um, yeah, I still wonder about that. That hasn't been answered, but I think at least I've got a way of thinking about it, which puts me in a different position, and that's super helpful because it's like from a nervous system animal perspective, like I'm this type of creature, and it's a slightly different type of creature than someone who
Yeah.
doesn't need to have 10,000 ideas every day.
I think I'm right there with you. There's so much going on in my mind all day long. It's like, okay, we gotta slow down.
Yes, yeah.
Now, when you're working with your clients, what are a couple like good tips that you help them with?
Um, I think that as I said, everyone's unique. So I think a lot of it is often people will come to coaching because they've got a struggle, and so it's like slowing things down. That idea of creating space. A lot of what I'm doing is just listening and giving for reflection. And by creating that, what we're doing is offering a space for things to land. So you might technically know something, but it hasn't fully landed in your body and your being in a way. So it's
Yep.
like, how if I can't be there, you're going to learn how to do this for yourself. So how do you create space for yourself? How do you create moments in your day where you get to reconnect with something like a internal leadership that gives you clarity on what you need in the moment? That's a kind of starting point. Maybe it's like, where do we get the space to reconnect with ourselves?
Yep. Yeah, and I like it because you're talking about how you meet your clients where they are, so then you can help them through their struggles. It's not like a one size fits all. You gotta help
Yes,
each individual person.
absolutely, yeah. And very often, just being heard can really make a difference, especially being neurodivergent, having a busy brain, or having a sensitive nervous system. So you're taking on stuff a lot and you're having to work through many, many experiences. In like there's an intensity to it. So again, it's that slowing,
Yeah.
creating some space, and then within that, we make our discoveries. We tap back into our creative self, our hopeful self. It's a
Mhm.
process um, within
Oh
which
yeah.
each person figures out their own path.
Yep. Definitely. I know exactly what you mean. Now, for the people listening, if they want to work with you or just maybe schedule a call with you, how can they do that?
So my website has a section called Work With Me, and there's an option in there for the coaching and mentoring, and that's the best way. So you can just click into there, and there's booking options in there. My website is sarahdickson.studio, and it's under Work With Me. I'm also on Facebook and
Mhm.
Instagram, so I'm happy to just get DMs as well, and drop me a message if you're interested in having a chat. I do like short intro chats. We can just get to know each other, figure out what's going on, and see if I can help.
That's awesome. And then, can they also see your artwork on your website?
Yeah, so my Sarah Dixon Studio site is lots of different projects and things that I'm into, and the Work With Me section. And then off of that, there's also the 100 Goddesses. It's a separate website with just the whole collection on there. And that's 100goddesses.life.
Awesome.
But you can get to it from sarah-dixon.studio as well. So you can kind of get more of a mix of all the different projects. I'm very creative. I have a lot going on, so it's better to have
That's
a
really,
browse around the site and see what's there.
yeah, that's really good. It's it's good to have a lot going on because then we're busy. You know, I I should say productive. Let's try to be productive, not just busy, because there's a big difference. We can all be busy all day long, but are we actually getting stuff done that we need to get done?
So that's massive, for the juggle and the struggle. And it comes up a lot with other people too, with my clients and the groups that I work with. How do we manage all these demands, all these complexities, plus being creative, generating lots of new stuff? It can end up with like
Yep.
physical clutter. It can be calendar clutter, and it's great. It's exciting to be creative, and it's the art of not letting it get overwhelming. And if it does overwhelm you, how do we get back into flow? How do we get back into that systemic sort of process of production that is feeling really good? When I'm into painting, I love it. I can generate painting after painting. It's so much fun. But it's really easy to kind of get
Yep.
blocked by, oh, I've got too many admin tasks. I've got too much of something else. And yeah, navigating all of that. And that's what I like to help others figure out. What can go? How do we slow down? And sometimes it's literally 5 minutes time out.
Hmm.
And that can just help us think,
Yep.
I know, I need to go and pick up my paintbrush, or I need to go make that phone call, or whatever it is.
Yep. Yeah, my one of my mentors, he taught me a, a little system that you can do to be more productive. Have you heard of the Pomodoro technique?
Yes, yes. So the 25 minutes
Yeah.
bursts.
25 minutes on, so 25 minutes of work, and then take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
But when you take that break, don't be on your phone, don't be looking on Facebook and all that. Like, take an actual break, like maybe go outside or just sit in silence. And because then not only does it help you get more done, because when you have a deadline, because you're like, okay, I have a timer set for 25 minutes. I gotta get as much done as I can in that 25 minutes. So yes, you get more done, even though you're spending less time working. It's really remarkable how it works.
I love that, and I use similar thing with 1 hour blocks or 40-minute blocks as well, and it's just fantastic. And I'm really bad at taking breaks. Like I can go into the hyper focus and just get lost for hours, and then wonder why I'm feeling really strange. And woozy and
Hey, yep,
lightheaded. It's like, no, I need those breaks as well. They're super important. And that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about that moment of grounding, that few minutes just to reconnect with yourself. That's what you can do in that little block is, like you say, get outside, take deep breaths, do something physical, into the body, feeling yourself in as a real being out of the head, and then back into
yep.
the work zone for a bit. It's amazing. It's such a useful technique.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Now, on this podcast, I love to encourage people who have disabilities to, see what they can do. Like, see if they can start their own business. Do you have like a tip for people on how they might be holding themselves back from doing what they really want?
Yeah, so when it comes to creativity, a lot of times we've had, again, it's like social influence as well. There's something maybe considered
Mm-hmm.
self-indulgent, it's not important enough. So I just come back to that idea that we're living creatures. We're not machines, and we're not factories. Yes, we need to produce stuff and be
Yeah.
part of society, but ultimately we're here to exist, to live, and to breathe, and to celebrate life. Um, yeah, so it can be really challenging. It can be quite deep rooted things sometimes, internal narratives really that we build
Oh
up
yeah.
as children very easily. As children, we're so vulnerable to just coming up with a really simple story, and then we can kind of get stuck with that. So exploring what are the stories that are repeating in your head, And do you need to shift that story? How do we shift it? Sometimes we know we should, but it's really hard. So yeah, creative process can actually really help with that as well. Like just any kind of, I think the 5 minutes, even if it's, one thing is 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes break. But another thing I find for getting into your creative self and releasing yourself into some kind of greater freedom is 5 minutes for that. So it's not a break. It's a 5-minute escape door. And I did that to get starting with my painting. I hadn't done painting for years when I started the Goddesses. And it was like, I can't go in my studio. I'll get stuck in there for hours and it will be really bad. And I've got all this other work to do. And then I started just doing 5 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm allowed to go in my studio for 5 minutes. So I would open the door and I could go in and just sit there and do nothing, like no plan, no intention, just literally enter that space. 5 minutes. Wait a minute, I might just have a little look at these drawings I did. Okay, I might just pick up a pencil, Well, I might just, and that 5 minutes is like magic. It's like a portal to another world. So you give yourself permission for 5 minutes, and that feels achievable. It might be 10 you could give yourself. I'm allowed freedom for 10 minutes. I can release myself from all those responsibilities and demands for that 5-10 minutes, and just see what happens. You never know. You could just stare into space. You could do some tiny creative act or a little bit of like write down a couple of sentences. That's a incredible, powerful technique as well to use that little window.
I like that a lot. I've never done that before. I'm going to give that a try. Thank
Please
you.
do. Let me know how it goes.
Okay, I will. And then I gotta ask you the same question that I ask every guest. So my slogan is, your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
I think for me, what I'm thinking about there is freedom. So we all have bodies in the physical world and they limit us and they don't last forever. We live on a timeline and each body is unique, but the infiniteness comes from our spirit, from our senses. And to me, the freedom is the feeling of infinity. And that doorway, that 5 minutes of freedom, that 5 minutes completely just to exist in the world and celebrate being alive, that's where my infinite ability comes from.
I love that. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And then, do you have any last words of wisdom for the audience?
So I'm so passionate for everyone to experience that feeling of being in flow with life, being able to express themselves, to celebrate being alive. So I just want to remind you of that. I want you to take a few minutes in your day today to just tap into something of that, even if it's a memory, even if you can't access it right now, if you're not feeling in a good place, you can try to remember a time when you were able to tap into that. Often it's in childhood that we have that experience of, it's great to be alive. I'm so excited to exist. And I just love the beauty of the world. Let's try and find a moment for that in our day.
I agree so much. Enjoy life.
Yes.
We have to take time to actually enjoy life. Especially when you're an entrepreneur like us.
Yes.
Like, we can get so wrapped up in our work that we forget that, hey, I gotta take care of myself. I
Yes.
gotta enjoy life. I gotta do something fun. I gotta spend time with people I love.
Yes.
So it gets challenging to be like, all right, stop and just relax,
Yeah. Absolutely. I think when we've got challenges, we've got neurodivergence, we've got physical challenges, whatever it might be, even financial, the stress of everything, we still get to access that. And it's a resource. It will help us do better and manage better with all the challenges as well. So it's super important to find that rest, that joy, that connection, that beauty. Yeah.
Yep. I agree so much with that.
Yay.
All right, Sarah, this has been really great. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my absolute pleasure to be here, Nick. Thank you so much for inviting me.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Heart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors. So let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone. Remember, your abilities are infinite.